From the Solomon Islands and Taiwan to Africa and Australia, here are 13 of the worst locations for crocodile attacks. 13. Crocodile hunters. A southern province of the Philippines is the site of a hunt for an alleged man-eating crocodile, and it just might be the largest such creature ever documented. Witnesses claim the beast measures upwards of 30 feet long, which could establish it as one of the largest terrestrial predators ever recorded. But while there is no confirmation of the reptile's exact dimensions, the animal has reportedly been terrorizing the region of Agusan del Sur and attacking fishermen and livestock there. Villagers claim a woman was grabbed by the huge croc, but her whereabouts are unknown. And this would not be the first time a monster crocodile has threatened that particular province. In 2011, a saltwater croc was captured there that measured more than 6 meters or 20 feet long and weighed 1,075 kilograms or 2,370 pounds. It was said to be responsible for at least one human death. 12. Africa and South America. What now comprises these two continents would have been some dangerous territory to call home around 112 million years ago, and that's thanks to the nightmarish Sarcosuchus imperator. It did resemble and is related to the modern-day crocodile, and is one of the largest such reptiles that ever lived, hence its nickname, Super Croc. This prehistoric beast weighed some 8 tons and measured nearly 40 feet long, about the size of a truck. And given its size, that animal would have likely preyed upon the dinosaurs of its time, including Spinosaurus, the largest meat-eating dino ever. Crocodile attacks would not have gotten much deadlier than this. 11. Florida's future. Now, we're including the Sunshine State here because it's on our watch list for future locations of deadly croc attacks. Florida is already experiencing some problems with reptilian invasive species, including iguanas and Burmese pythons, and now that could possibly include Nile crocodiles on that list. At least 2 of these reptiles were captured and identified as belonging to the deadly African species. Experts are unsure just how the animals got to Florida and are concerned there might be more of those monsters lurking about the state. 10. Uganda. In 2014, a killer crocodile that terrorized Ugandan villages was caught after a 4-day hunt throughout a village. Believed to have eaten at least 4 fishermen and maimed some others, this reptile was known to frequent the shores of Lake Victoria in the eastern part of the country. Hunters finally captured the reptile by placing meat on a hook, then hauled it onto the back of a pickup truck. Weighing more than a ton, that croc was later transferred to a local national park. 9. Zambezi River. This is the 4th longest river in Africa and features the famous Victoria Falls located at the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. The river also features some deadly inhabitants that includes the African rock python and a whole lot of Nile crocodiles. They're not shy about attacking humans either. We've found stories where the animals have bitten people while they were paddling in canoes. In one case, the croc's bite amputated a woman's arm, although she survived. In 2015, several fatal crocodile attacks along the river were reported, with victims including several children, one of them a 3-year-old girl. And while some British tourists were not attacked while visiting the river, they did view something that assaulted their eyes well enough during their sunset cruise. That was the sight of some crocs feeding on human remains. Experts think that may have been a poacher who tried to swim across the river. Maybe it was karma. 8. The Solomon Islands. This country, located in Oceania, has had a ban on the exportation of saltwater crocodile skins in place for the past 30 years. But now, a spate of the reptiles attacking humans is making officials consider rescinding the ban, which was meant to control the croc population. More than 10 people were attacked in 2017, and an 8-year-old girl was killed. The crocs have also assaulted various livestock and domestic animals across the country. And experts say the number of attacks could be even greater, since villagers do not always report the incidents to the authorities. Many people connect the attacks with the crocodile population exploding in the decades after the ban was enacted in order to protect the species. And with those animals getting out of control, a special police crocodile control unit was formed to respond to the increasing number of assaults. 7. South Africa. During a 7-month stretch in 2017, 16 people were killed by crocodile attacks in South Africa, and this according to the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, also known as ZimParks. Over that same span of time, an additional 5 people were left with serious injuries from such attacks. While many of these deaths can be attributed to people being negligent in waters that are infested with crocs, experts also feel the reptiles could be breeding in larger numbers and are getting bolder as humans enter the habitat. Even professional hunters have fallen victim to the animals. Scott Van Zyl, hope I got that name right, embarked on a hunting safari with a pair of dogs. Now, when those dogs returned to camp without him, the hunter's footprints were traced to the banks of the Limpopo River in Zimbabwe. 3 Nile crocs were found there and shot, and when examined, one of them contained human remains, which DNA testing later confirmed as belonging to that hunter. 6. Burundi. Gustave is a notorious beast that hails from this region in Africa. This monster Nile crocodile is thought to have killed as many as 300 people. The incidents have allegedly occurred from the banks of the Ruzizi River and the north shore of Lake Tanganyika. Actual numbers of fatalities have been difficult to verify, but that man-eater reputation has given Gustave a near-mythical status. It's said to weigh over a ton, and some estimates claim Gustave is some 25 feet long. However, none of that has been officially verified. His last reported sighting came in 2015, when a resident claimed to see the critter dragging an adult bull buffalo along a riverbank. 5. Borneo. A massive croc named Bujang Sanang, or Happy Bachelor, was known to inhabit the Lupar River of Sarawak in Borneo. It terrorized the locals, who were convinced the creature had been feasting on humans for at least 3 decades, although its attacks were not widely reported until the early 1980s. Now, the critter survived many attempts to kill it, including having hand grenades being hurled at it. In 1992, locals finally did manage to capture and kill the beast, which weighed more than a ton and reportedly measured more than 19 feet long. 4. Taiwan. Now, this is not to say Taiwan itself is a hotbed of crocodile attacks, but a zoo located in the country certainly was. A crocodile there managed to provide a graphic illustration about biting the hand that feeds you. The animal was being treated with antibiotics, and when the veterinarian treating it attempted to reach through the railing of the cage to administer more treatment, the 434-pound beast thrust forward and bit off the man's arm at the elbow. Colleagues quickly applied a tourniquet to the 28-year-old vet, as the big reptile carried the severed limb about in its jaws like a ghastly trophy. Well, it dropped the arm after being startled by a gunshot, and it was quickly retrieved and put on ice. Later, an operation to reattach the man's limb was deemed a success. 3. Cales Crossing. One of the richest biological regions of Australia is in an area called Alligator Rivers in the Northern Territory. Now, you won't find alligators there because that name resulted when early explorers of the area mistook crocs for gators. Well, you will certainly find plenty of big crocs at Cales Crossing, located on the East Alligator River. Shallow and only a few meters wide, it has become infamous for being infested with saltwater crocs, and has been the site of many human fatalities, and little wonder why. Researchers have estimated that 120 salties can inhabit a 6-kilometer stretch in that river just south of the crossing. The most infamous fatality occurred there in 1987, when a croc shot out of the water and separated a fisherman's head from the rest of his body. Now, since then, numerous attacks have been widely reported. Even so, the spectacle of salties seems to outweigh the warnings and tragedies that have occurred there. 12. Sub-Saharan Africa. So why rank this as the number 2 location for deadly crocodile attacks? Well, 2 words: Nile crocodile. Now, we've mentioned this nightmare a few times already, but the deadly critter is native to this area, mostly in the southern, eastern, and central regions of the continent. Now, while there are 23 crocodilian species, only 6 are considered to be dangerous to humans, and the Nile croc tends to top that list. Experts say that these animals are responsible for hundreds of human fatalities each year. Some studies claim that the number is as high as 750. Other sources cite higher numbers, and fatality rates can exceed 60%. Saltwater crocs, by contrast, are reportedly responsible for about 30 fatalities a year, with a 50% of them being fatal. Now, no offense to the salties, but the Nile croc is often viewed as the deadliest predators of humans among wild animals, and some experts say they are the deadliest predators of us. So, The most dangerous location for crocs would seem to be basically anywhere the Nile crocodile calls home. 1. Ramri Island. Located off the coast of Myanmar, Ramri Island was the location of what many consider to be the world's worst crocodile disaster. In 1945, British troops arrived there to construct an airbase and soon clashed with Japanese forces. Now, the British eventually won that battle and then marched around 1,000 enemy combatants into the swamps that blanketed approximately 10 miles of the territory. As the Japanese soldiers were ushered into Ramri's dense mangrove jungles, they were also entering the habitat of countless saltwater crocodiles. The huge reptiles were attracted by the odor of sweat and open wounds, and soon trapped the men within that swamp. Survivors described scenes of crocodiles appearing from out of nowhere, then swarming over them en masse and dragging victims away to devour them in the jungle. It's estimated that about 400 Japanese soldiers out of 1,000 captives managed to survive. Did you know that Guinness has cited this incident as having had the most number of fatalities in a crocodile attack?